Hi, today I'm gonna work with a beef tenderloin. This is a USA product, but it's ungraded, meaning it has not gone through the USDA grading process, whether it's select, choice, or prime. I figured this is a tenderloin, a beef tenderloin, so it should be pretty tender, whether the meat packer paid for inspection or not. So first thing I do with this is I'll take it out of the vacuum bag and give it a quick rinse, as I always do with these type of meat. Then I'll cut it into portions, and tonight I'll do a roast, and I'll probably do a section this big. All right, here's the wash and dried tenderloin. I think what I'll do is this part is actually not part of the tenderloin, but it's just extra meat. So what I'll plan to do is just do a roast, and I'll probably cut it right there and save the rest for another application. And then after that I'll take off the silver skin. Alright, here's the cut off portion, and what I'm going to do is take off the silver skin. Silver skin is just the membrane that's typically tough, and since this is a tenderloin, you just try to take as little meat as you take off the silver skin as possible. So you take a sharp knife and kind of cut up and forward, so you're kind of scraping the silver skin but not cutting down. So try to minimize that meat loss and just work your way around. So what I'll do, since this is kind of attached, I'll just work a way around and won't detach the tenderloin from this meat, and I'll just trim off any other nasty bits that look like that might be tough to eat. So I'll go through and start trimming the silver skin off this beef. Alright, I have the meat cleaned up, and what I'll do next is just salt the surfaces, salt and pepper generously. Pat it in as I usually do, and then add a little black pepper on both sides, and then pat that in. And then I'll go prep the other ingredients. So one thing I'll do next is this is kind of a floppy piece of meat, and when you cook it, it might cook unevenly. So I'm going to tie it to make it a nice, compact, uniform little roast. So next step is tying. Okay, next we're going to truss this into a tight little bundle. I've started with a square knot, and what you're going to do is loop it under, and as you pull, it's going to tighten this package up. Should get it a little closer. About every 1 or 2 inches, depending on how big this roast is. I'll do one more. Then you flip it over and come up and over. And let's see, the rope or the string is about that long to cover. So instead of coming straight across, you could loop after every string or just loop after a couple. and I didn't leave enough string for myself. Now you just tie a knot off here. Where'd that string go? There it is. So sort of a loose truss. Try to keep everything together. This is a little tapered, but I think it'll work. If you have extra string, just cut it off. Next step is to sear and get some nice brownness on this pork roast or beef roast. Alright, the next step is to sear the meat to give it a little color, and I'll finish off in the oven. So I'm using avocado oil because it has a nice high temperature smoke point. This is on high heat right now. I'll give it about a minute per side. These brown bits sticking to the pan will add flavor. So we'll take advantage of that in our next step. I'm just lightly pressing with the my fork or my spoon just to give it some, make sure everything's in contact. Alright, the roast has been searing for about 4 minutes. I'm just making sure everything has sort of a nice brown color. And what I'll do is take this out and set it to the side. Here's the seared roast. And I'm going to add mushrooms and shallots to form the base of my sauce, and a knob of butter, about a tablespoon and a half. One thing about cooking mushrooms and onions or shallots, add a little salt and pepper. Freshly ground would be better, but I have pre-ground. Alright, the mushrooms have been cooking about 5 minutes, trying to get them brown a little. The intent is to make this kind of a rich sauce. So I'm going to offset the richness with a little white wine vinegar, and I have masala, which is a sweet fortified wine. So this is probably like 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar and a tablespoon of masala. So I'm going to help that deglaze. Okay, that helped to glaze the pan a little. Like I said, I'm going to make it a rich sauce, so I'm going to add about about 1/3 to 1/2 a cup of heavy cream, or half and half. Then dilute it out with a little water, probably a 1/4 cup. The oven's set at 325. We're going to cook the beef low and slow just so it comes to temperature without going over. So I'm going to cook to medium, about 140, 145. Turn off the heat. add the roast and the juices. Just give this a light coating. And what I'm doing here, this is sort of a family dinner, and what I'm going to use is an oven thermometer and poke the roast. And usually for something like this, if it's more formal, I'd cook it based on time, but I'm more interested in how long it takes to reach a certain temperature, so that's part of the cooking I'm doing today. And this is going to go in the oven 325. So shoot for about right there. And it's tapered, so this end is going to cook quicker, which is okay because we have some people like more well done, while other people like more medium, under medium. Take it out of the pan and put it on a plate to rest, and I'll cover it loosely with aluminum foil. All right, here's the mushroom mixture after I've taken out the roast. I've turned the heat to medium. I'm going to add some green onions. And you could add water, and I'm going to add some bouillon. I'm going to let this reduce, let it blend and reduce to make a nice sauce. Alright, this is reduced a little. I've turned off the heat, and then I'm going to take it off the heat. Alright, the sauce has reduced. I've turned off the heat, and I'm going to add a knob of butter to thicken it, make sort of a pan sauce. Alright, here's the finished beef tenderloin. I'm cutting off the string so I could cut this into nice little medallions. I, in theory, cook this to medium. And this end should be a little more well, but we'll see how it turns out. So that's nice. Just cutting into about 1/2-inch slices, and you could cut thicker if you'd like. I'm eyeballing just how thick it is, or so there you go. This is the thicker end, a little more medium. And one thing, if you're cooking for guests and you don't want the hole from the probe thermometer, just cook by time. I just wanted to see how long it'd take to get to 145. For this is about a 2-pound roast. Alright, here's the finished dish. Sliced beef tenderloin, cooked to medium with a mushroom-shallot sauce.